I was pretty well considered an outlier in nuts. And today I'm still in nursery with the kids and everybody involved is still considered groundbreaking in the sense that we do it just different. I'm Connor Shaw, founder and proprietor of Possibility Place Nursery in Monee, Illinois. Possibility Place Nursery is a nursery that specializes in native plants indigenous to the Chicagoland area and includes trees, shrubs, vines, and herbaceous material. We do things for a reason, and thank God people got interested in native plants and it worked out for us. When I started in 1980, I had no clue this is where we would be today. And I visited nurseries, I wrote 5-year plans, which I got to throw out the first 6 months, and all those things. And where we are today, it was never on the horizon. Possibility Place Nursery is unique because number one, we specialize in woody plant material, where most of the other native plants nurseries specialize in herbaceous material. And we're also unique in the way we grow things, and we're unique in the sense that we collect, particularly on the woody side, all of our own seed.
My name is Tristan Shaw. I am part owner and in charge of field operations at Possibility Place Nursery. Possibility Place Nursery grows more trees, shrubs, and perennials than I can count. Several hundred species, from large shade trees to very small perennial plants. From homeowners to large contracts for forest preserve districts, Army Corps of Engineers, nonprofit organizations. So some are going to street trees, some are going to a forest preserve, and quite a few are going to people's backyards. Once people understand when you plant something, for instance an oak tree, and you start seeing small caterpillars on it, and then you start seeing chickadees, wrens, and other things eating caterpillars and feeding their young. And then more specifically, if you're planting host-specific species such as spice bush, you'll get the spice bush swallowtail. It gets you hooked, and it just grows into a real connection with nature.
My name is Kelsey Shaw, botanist and owner of Possibility Place. The customer experience here is it can be pretty unique. Since we are a family, the lack of formality makes this a little bit more comfortable place to be. And we're very frank about plant use. So when the customer comes in, we get pretty much to it right away. And we try and help them, develop that plant list. The fun of it comes in is that when they do make an appointment, they can actually see the material firsthand. We actually take them to the field, so they are actually looking at production rather than show plants. There is a native plant for every place in your yard. From trees to shrubs to flowers and grasses. So to think that natives are difficult or ugly or weedy or any of the other bad words for natives is a little misleading. They're not scary. They belong here. They flower just as pretty. They flower on time. They bring in butterflies. They make a yard more dynamic. And every time you do a planting is an opportunity to add a native or to integrate a native into your landscape and make it richer, make it prettier, and give it some depth that goes beyond what you might find at a garden center that has like a pretty picture, but not necessarily the substance that you might need to accomplish a better, greater landscape.
I would like to think our plants are the best. We take a lot of pride in our growing method. We take a lot of pride in seed collection, stratification to germination, to harvesting those plants in a manner that the plants will come in the best possible condition so that the end user will have success on their project. Due to our growing method, it is feasible for homeowners and not just contractors, but homeowners also to plant the largest trees we grow. A traditional ball and burlap tree from another nursery would weigh about 400 pounds. Because of the way we grow our plant material in root bags, it weighs about 150 pounds.
So one person with a shovel can put our biggest tree in the ground in about 20 minutes. And I don't think you can do that with a 400-pound root ball. Everything from the root systems to the growth rate to vigor to anything that goes into making a good plant great, I feel that we're just as good as anybody that is producing plants today. And in some cases, there are a few things that we're really well known for, especially our oak trees. We can produce a bur oak to a saleable size in a 5-gallon container in 1 year. And that's saying a lot. When you're growing something that well, that quickly, without using lots of extra fertilizer or anything else, what you have to keep in mind is we haven't used a fungicide, insecticide, or miticide commercially in the nursery in 40 years. And we don't plan to.
Now, I have wanted to charge extra for some of the butterflies that show up here. I've got Spice Bush Caterpillar over there. I'd like to charge an extra $20 when we ship it out.
Why should we plant natives? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of the worst environmental polluters are plants. Bradford pear, honeysuckle, buckthorn. They're taking the place of native populations that are critically important to food webs, and the pretty things that everybody likes to go to the woods to see are becoming less and less available. So making sure that we plant the things that are supposed to be here, that function as part of the environment, is a critically important point that people probably should pay more attention to. And if nothing else, plant an oak. It only takes one. I mean, if nothing else, plant one tree in your yard, put an oak tree there.
I think the thing that we all fail to realize is that native plants have been here a long time. They've evolved with a lot of insects and all sorts of creatures, and to bring in non-native, you lose that. And if you're interested in making a better environment for yourself, you should basically plant natives.
For instance, if you plant a ginkgo, nothing eats it. It is a dead zone. It's a nice looking tree, but there are no insects that eat it. And if you were to plant an oak tree, which is also a very nice tree that happens to be native, you will support hundreds of caterpillars and butterflies and moths, and then birds, and then squirrels, and then up the food chain.
Aesthetically, people like to think that ornamental species or developed species, or my personal favorite, nativars, it's not a real thing. It's a cultivar. It's a developed species. That they are much better looking, that they flower prettier, or they have better fall color, or they have bigger berries, or whatever it is. And the simple fact of the matter is that there is a native species to compete with any developed species for any site that you might be able to think of. And it's very important that if you're not going to plant a totally native yard, which you don't have to, making sure that there is a level of integration using native species is very important. And so to say that they're not pretty, I have to disagree. For anybody who wants to start using natives in their landscape through integration or complete conversion or whatever level they would like to go to, they can give us a call and we'd be happy to help them in any way that we can, either by selling them the material or consulting on the yard itself or on a project. It doesn't have to be limited to tiny, tiny spaces. Don't put natives in a corner. Embrace them, bring them out into the light and put them around the yard. You won't be disappointed.